Hey YouTube, I am not happy with V-Moda. And I haven't let this consume me. I've not been thinking about it as I've been busy with other stuff, but I'm not happy. And I was going to just film this video and put it up there and be done. And, if V-Moda saw it, great, whatever. If they didn't, I didn't want to send it to them. I didn't really want to cause a stir. But after seeing Linus go through the situation with the Jasco light switches he's been putting up, that just kind of spurred me to actually do this and actually send it to them, probably on like a social media thing, and maybe also the support email that I've been talking with. And I want to say, I'm not naming any specific names of people that I have, but this is not the fault of the person who I've been emailing with support. They're pretty much just following rules. And it kind of sort of isn't the fault of the tech guy looking at my headphones. Sort of. He's within some rules too that I recognize are tight and tough. I've worked at customer service jobs, mostly like Dollar Tree and some fast food places, and I know what it's like to be on the end of not happy customers, but I'm not happy, and let me just explain it, and you'll see where I'm coming from. So first, our story starts with my V-Moda Crosfade 2s. These are the Codex edition. They're in pieces because V-Moda offers a thing where you can clip the wires of your headphones on both sides so they don't make any sound. Well, you would still out of the one ear, but you clip the wires, send them some photographic proof, and then you can get your new pair or whatever warranty going through. And so I'll get to that in just a moment. I got my first pair of V-Modas because they were listed as the most durable headphones on many headphone review websites. Not specifically the Crosfade 2s. Well, I think the Crosfade 2s were listed on one website, but not these M200 ANCs, the latest one, the one that I'm having the most issues with. And I wanted the most durable headphones. And this is a story I've wanted to tell for a while, even do reviews on these headphones. I just never got around to it. And all of the previous headphones that I've had were either used from a friend, bought them from thrift stores, and so that could attribute to my headphones not lasting as long. And maybe I would have been just as fine with a new pair, but from some other brand that didn't cost like $350, or these are actually like $500, which more than that actually, but I had a coupon for them. But so with the first pair of headphones, they had this really weird issue where this is a braided cable, and the copper wiring inside of that cable would start squishing out. There's a little bumpy spot. You can maybe barely see forming on there, but the wire would start squishing out to the sides, and I knew that wasn't good. And so I was able to work with the warranty and team and whatever, and I'd send them in, and they would send me back a new pair, and I'd have to, these ones don't have my fancy plates on the side, which I'll show off in another video, because you do get custom shields for V-Moda. But I'd screw my shields back on and be up and running. And then after it started squishing out again a month or so later, I'd send it back. And so for a good period, I was without my headphones for like a week or so, and then had them for a month and another week. And it was frustrating not to have my headphones. But they were replacing them under warranty, and it was good. And then finally, I had a pair, this pair right here, which also, by the way, I originally started out with the Crosfade 2, and then they came out with the Crosfade 2 Codex, and I ended up getting an upgrade to that through my warranty stuff. So that's what these are. But during that time, it was a little frustrating, but they were replacing them, and that was good. And then finally, I got to this pair, my last pair, and they started looking a little bumpy, but they weren't squishing out like the others, and I decided to stick it out and not go through with the warranty one more time. And I don't remember how long I had them for, but they actually lasted me for quite a few years, and it was great. And I loved them. Well, a few things, and that's one of the reasons why I'm going to be probably switching from V-Moda, but also for the latest issues. So the V-Moda have this hexagonal shape, and with these ones here, I had the extra large ear cushions because the other ones were a little more like an on-ear headphone. They weren't very comfy. These ones default to being about the extra large size, and they're really comfortable. I can wear these for a decent amount of time while I'm gaming and stuff. These ones are a little more comfortable than the others, if I remember correctly. But the biggest issue is how they're hexagonal shaped, which they've claimed in the past gives them their signature sound and makes them sound better. And yeah, I know a little bit about acoustics, and shape does and can help shape the sound. But having this point down here, it causes a pressure point around here, which after a while does hurt a little bit. Whereas these headphones that don't work anymore, these are kickers, big round circles that I've taped up and zip tied. And I like this shape and design better. And if these weren't so beat up and they sat right on my head, these would be a little more comfortable. And I've wondered why other companies like Sony and whatnot go for not a hexagonal shape, but an oval shape, which these are an ovicular hexagonal shape. And then I realized, even though like you can't position the headband anywhere on your head, because they are oval shaped, they are covering less space on your head than a circle would take up, and they're not going to be as hot. So I recognize why they're doing oval shapes, and I'll probably end up getting an oval shape with my next pair of headphones. So that's the one gripe that I have with the V-Moda lineup as a whole. Durability wise, they are relatively durable, and I'm thinking durability might go a little more towards just their wired headphones, because these things still work wired. And these things right here, I am actually going to see if I can find someone who is willing to solder a new wire on, and I should remember how to put the headband together, and then they'll work great. And I can have, if not, they should still work wireless, which will be cool too. And, you know, I may pursue that option if money stays as tight as it is, because new pair of headphones is probably going to be more expensive than having a friend solder it for a little bit of money or free, or paying someone to do so maybe. And I don't know, we'll see what, but it'll probably be a while before I get a new pair of headphones. So I do want to get those fixed. And even though like I snipped the wires and I can go recycle them now, and they're like not working, and you know, I'm sure that V-Moda has thought of this in the process for allowing people to clip their wires and have the video proof of that count as warranty, which I actually have a video of me clipping the wires on these ones. At least I think it might have been a different pair. Anyways, with these ones right here, yeah, and that's kind of cool, and I bet they're not expecting a lot of people to fix it. But even if they were counting on people not then going and fixing their headphones, I feel this is totally warranted. So, these right here, the M200 ANCs, they are more of a flat sounding headphone than these ones are. It's not a V shape. It took a bit of getting used to, and I tried tuning them, which did make them sound more familiar. But because of what a coworker who used to have a band, a former coworker, said, he was in the band Seb versus Ev, and this is Evan. He said that you want flat because that's, you hear what the artist intended. And so I did actually try listening to that for a while, and I got used to them being flat, and that was fine. They were a good pair of headphones that I liked using wireless. The only issue that I had, because a lot of period that I was using these was with an old Nokia phone, which I forgot to grab one for this, the Nokia 5230. And sometimes, because that's an older device and Bluetooth isn't as good, sometimes, for I don't know why, but they would sound kind of like if you're watching an old 80s movie and someone walks into a grocery store and there's music playing. But once I got to a modern smartphone again, they sounded good, and I don't know, I just liked them, and they're maybe a little expensive for their market, but the problems come when they wouldn't charge, and it turns out this is just barely after the 1 year mark when they're out of warranty. However, I was in a grace period, and I was able to send them back. So I sent my headphones in, and in the process I asked them, because the instruction manual says if you see a flashing light, contact support. So I asked them, do you know like exactly what's wrong? And what can I do to make sure this doesn't happen in the future as I continue to use them when I get them back? And they said, we don't know at this time what's wrong, but you can follow back up with us once you receive your headphones again, and we will be able to tell you so that you can avoid any further issues. And I'm like, great. So I ship them off, and then I'm waiting, and finally they come back, and I'm super excited, and I go live, and I do a video on them, and they are not working. As you can see here, this note was attached to the thing. It says, beyond repair, headband cable wire open. That is not good. So, upon reading that, my initial thought was, headphone band wire, oh, it's the wire going between the headbands here, which I've always thought was a little weird. For being the most durable, why do they have an exposed wire? Yes, it is braided, and braiding does make wires more strong, but like these ones don't have exposed wires. A lot of other pairs of headphones that I've used don't have exposed wires. But then I went into a Guitar Center one time, this is years ago, and I saw several other pairs of headphones using the same design, and I'm like, okay, so more headphone brands use it. Well, I still think it'd be nicer to have on the inside, and there's probably a reason why. It probably saves them from having to figure out certain things. Like, I've always wondered how they have room for the headband wire to expand and contract inside of a completely enclosed thing where it can't just bend anywhere. I've always wondered that, but so, okay, fine. So, but this isn't broken, and it's only starting to barely bulge on one side, and these still work when they are plugged in to a cable. They do not work with wires at all. Like when I got them back, I tried turning them on because they still had just a little bit of juice. When I sent them off, completely dead. I'm assuming they just died from the little bit of time sitting around. They will not charge at all. So that wasn't it. And then, also I opened up the headphones. I had opened up one of my pairs of these once to look inside to see if I could fix because the buttons weren't clicking right. Some of the inner pieces had come out. And they told me, please don't open your headphones anymore. We will warranty them. And so with these ones, I didn't want to say anything. Even though I was sure that I wasn't going to get anywhere with warranty, I just wanted to not say anything and open them up and have a look for myself. And I wasn't saying anything just in case they were going to warranty them, and that would void me of warranty, which oftentimes opening your stuff will. But looking inside, I did not see anything wrong inside. Nothing looked wrong at all, and I was just like really frustrated. I sent them in for a charging issue, and we're talking about something else. And and I thought maybe there's a slight possibility that it's the wire that handles the charge, and because I think the battery is over here and the rest of your circuitry is over here, maybe it's the wire connecting the two, because the charge port is also over here too. Maybe it's the wire for just the charging circuit that's bad, but the regular audio wires are fine. And I don't know, maybe that is it. But the annoying thing is when I started emailing them and asking, because I was frustrated and being like, what does this mean? I don't have any explanation, and it doesn't make sense. And so the explanation I got is that the headphone jack port, the aux port, was damaged. Damaged? How is that damaged? Have a look at this slew of actual V-Moda cables. There is the V-Moda V on that. All of these have the V-Moda V, and this one right here is even the locking cable, which plugs into these and twists, and it locks into place right there, and it's really solid. I don't think that the jack on this is going to get damaged. I think the cable will get damaged first if it was ever yanked on. The other ends do have a strain relief on them that's right angle. That's pretty much all that I've ever plugged into these headphones. I have tried to plug in this anchor cable once because it's a really long, I think it's like 6 foot, and it doesn't fit in all the way because of that locking design. Even though it's a really slim end, it is not slim enough to fit in here. I only have one other thing that will fit, and it's a little headphone splitter, but I never really plugged that in there because having a headphone splitter right next to your head is weird. I've always just used that in conjunction with one of these cables as an extender. So usually my locking cable is kept inside of the case, which anytime I took these anywhere with me to work, whether because I was going in early because that's when I could get a ride and I was going to game on my laptop or whatever until my shift started, was this cable, and they were stored in these cases when I wasn't using them. And then for around the house, plugged into my computer, and even the last little while playing Minecraft and whatnot, it was using one of these other cables, which does fit. It's an actual V-Moda cable. Shouldn't be any issues. Only difference between these two is the one locks, and the locking cable is only a 3-pole that doesn't have a microphone, which was actually really nice for use with my Nokia phones that don't work with 4-pole cables with mics, unless you have their specific one. So that's all I plugged in there. I do not have any idea whatsoever how I even remotely damaged this very well recessed headphone jack. On the Crosfade 2s, it's not recessed, and that's one thing that I kind of liked about them better, because it allowed me to then plug in my really long cable and have a really long aux cord going wired for things. Like I would plug into our stereo sometimes to watch TV late at night. And so like I said, I did end up using like this cable in conjunction with the headphone splitter that I have, and I use it as an extender. I just do not understand how I would have damaged that. And when they were telling me that, and they were saying, and unfortunately they are also now outside of warranty, and there's nothing we can do. So me shipping them in and then coming back was enough to put us outside of the warranty period. I haven't done a lot of warranty stuff with companies, so I don't know, maybe that's standard, but I think if you start your warranty issues before the warranty period ends, and the warranty period ends while you're still having these issues and they haven't resolved to a satisfactory as best they can, you should still be able to get some sort of resolution. But yes, I recognize from working at various jobs that there's limited things that people inside companies can do. And so I'm not really pointing blame at the person who I've been emailing with. I'm pointing just a little more blame at the technician. Maybe if they are damaged, I would appreciate to know how, because I even asked them, so can you explain more, give me more info on how they're damaged? And they said, hey, we'll follow up with the repair team, and when we get more info, we'll send it to you. And so then I'm like, anything? Wait a while. Anything? And then finally, there's no more unfortunately, there's no more information. I am very sorry about that. Unfortunately, no more information, so just the act of going like this to my headphones, which you can't even really do at any weird angles or whatever, and like they've even lived on this stand because the custom printed plates on the side, I wanted to look nice, and just laying them down on surfaces, I could get scraped, and so I bought this stand so that my headphones would be hanging up, and I will admit my desk was a little messy, but they were most of the time hanging up, and they would even have a cable plugged into them like this, and they would just be hanging here, and yeah, then this would often stay plugged into my computer, and maybe the cable got tugged or pulled on, but like I said earlier, if that happened, I think the cable would get damaged quicker than the internal jack. They've got a lot of plastic around it. It feels really sturdy. Looking inside, it feels sturdy too. And perhaps maybe the issue is just with the battery itself, and if I replaced it, it would work. But either way, I am not happy with V-Moda. I don't like this outcome. And I know that part of my frustration comes that they died right after having them for just 1 year. But even then, just with what they've said the issue is, doesn't make any sense. And I'm going to be going with a different headphone brand. The only way, V-Moda, if you see this, when I send this into your support, which I will, the only way that you can make things right for me is if you actually agree to, if these are actually for some reason beyond your repair abilities, if you agree to send me another pair. But even then, I'll probably go with another brand once those die. I am looking forward to trying something without a point on the bottom there. And also, these are by Roland, or copyrighted by Roland. They are not just V-Moda anymore. Val Cooten, I think was his name, is no longer with the company, last I read. And some news outlets were commenting that maybe V-Moda isn't quite as good of quality as they used to be. So, I don't know, maybe Roland has had an effect on them, but I am definitely not happy. And I'm probably going to be going with a Sony or a Bose, maybe another headphone brand. I kind of almost want something flat sounding, because I've gotten used to it now, and that's what people use to mix stuff. And I am a content creator, so I'll probably look at best headphones for content creation. Whenever I do look into getting a headphone, which will be probably several months away because budget is tight right now, I'll probably buy a few of them at once and like test them and then send back the ones that I don't end up liking. Pick a winner that way. Yeah, and part of me is kind of sad that it had to end this way because I've had a decent experience with V-Moda. And again, maybe their durability claims are more for their wired headsets, which a lot of DJs and people like. And they say they're the most durable and they've had them for so many years. But I'm not happy with my experience. And again, if you get me a new pair of headphones or somehow actually manage to repair these, I will be a lot happier and a little closer to considering staying with you as a company. The second best thing you can do, which will not make me buy more headphones, because they do have a Immortal Life program, which is how I got these. I clipped my old headphones and I sent them a video of that, and then they gave me a coupon towards the new ones. So if you give me an explanation about exactly how it's damaged in there, explain to me what part is damaged. I would maybe, I don't want to pay for shipping for the return, but if somehow send you a video showing the inside, or somehow you could point out to me exactly what's damaged, that would appease me just a little bit. But pretty much, I think the way things are going to go is I'm going to be using an entirely different headphone brand, picking something else. So I'm not happy, but again, it hasn't been consuming me, and these still do work wired, and these ones definitely will work wired if they get fixed. They'll also work wireless, should too, if I get those fixed. But these working wired, and whatever pair I get, these will either be a good second pair of headphones for, maybe I'll use them wired with my computer. If I don't, I'll probably use my other pair wired, and I'll use these for whenever I have a guest over and we need to wear headphones, for whenever we're doing something, recording something like that. That's pretty much it for this video. Definitely not a happy ending, but hey, go support me on Patreon, because, I'm going to be putting that towards studio setup and my Adobe subscription, but who knows? If I get enough funds, they could help me buy a new pair of headphones. I do have some MPOW Flame S earbuds that I want to do just a short little video on, giving some praise for them, because they've actually been really good for their price. And so as far as wireless goes, I've been using those with my phone to listen to music and watch videos around the house, things so that don't bother my parents, especially the music bit, because my mom doesn't like all of the music I listen to. She's not against me listening to it, it's just not her style. She likes other music, and so it's all cool, but I end up using earbuds or headphones quite a bit, and I like to have another pair of over-ear headphones, which right now, I don't have a pair that will work with my phone without a dongle. So that's pretty much it. Oh, and Patreon is patreon.com/coolshows101. Please go support me there. Maybe we'll get lucky and something will be worked out with V-Moda. And I would want this to, hopefully, if it makes some change for me, hopefully something would be slightly changed for everyone. And support things would be different too. Because one more thing I can say is, this is another thing that you need to fix, V-Moda. When I was getting these done, their whole process for submitting a custom design for the ear shields, which I'll show in a later video, they say that you will get a preview of what they are going to look like before you send them out. And when I didn't receive my preview and it was looking like these were getting close to come, I sent them an email and I'm like, hey, can I take a look at my design? Or I forget exactly what I said. But basically, the guy who handles that department sent a picture of the printed shields, and it wasn't my design. And I'm like, hey, that's not mine. Mine was supposed to be this. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I've had a lot of people asking for this, and it's been busy lately, and your design was printed correctly, and it got sent to you. And my design was actually a little smaller and more centered on the headphone pieces than I was expecting. It still looks really good, and you guys are going to love the design that I did when I do a video on them. So it still looks really good, and I get that COVID has made a lot of things more difficult as far as having help inside of the office and all this stuff. But if you're going to have things changed so that they don't send you a preview of the design before it's printed to make sure everything's right, then I think you should remove that from the description and text talking about how people submit a design for, custom headphones. And so yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I will see you guys in whatever's next.